from Armstrong High School. Mike White writing in the Post-Gazette late last night, early this morning. All students at Armstrong High School have been banned from attending future school hockey games this season, and a group of students are facing possible disciplinary action for directing chants of a vulgar and sexual nature toward Mars female goaltender during a game last week. The video has been put out there on social media. You can hear what was said for yourself. We're not going to repeat it on the air because, frankly, it's just disgusting.
It wasn't just regular chanting that you get at a high school game.
No.
It was pointed sexual slurs at people, and
yes.
it was awful. And I've put it out there. It's on Twitter. The video from the game tape.
Yeah, from the live barn feed of the game. Armstrong principal Kirk Lorigan said the school's appalled and embarrassed at the actions of the student section and chants that the students used during Thursday's game in Katanning. The player and her family didn't want to comment on the situation. The Post-Gazette, no one else revealing the identity of the goalie. Lorigan, though, the principal from Armstrong, while he didn't attend the game, did say he was disgusted that no one from Armstrong, parents to security personnel, did anything to stop the chants. And that's what still kind of sticks in my craw about this whole thing, guys, is that there wasn't a responsible adult there who thought it wise to walk over to those teenagers and say, stop what you're doing. This is ridiculous.
I'm not going to yell and scream about it. It just makes me boil, though. Kids are kids, and they're knuckleheads by nature, and they should know a lot better, but they don't in this instance. The problem herein is it's not excusable at all, but it happens with kids, and again, they're knuckleheads. The real crime here is the Armstrong adults that stood idly by, and they did nothing. They failed, period. They're cowards, period. I don't care who that offends, period. They failed their community. They failed their team. They failed their school. They failed all of it. And you're guilty if you don't step up and do something there. It's clearly audible. It's repeated. It happens again and again. These names that are called of this Mars goalie are abhorrent. They're awful. And again, you're guilty if you don't step in and do something. And I don't understand why we don't feel empowered to fix wrongs when we see them in society anymore. You know, you see these videos all over the internet. I said this before. Like, you'll see a video and people get laughs out of it or post it on the internet. There's somebody shoplifting, like, thousands of dollars of stuff from a big box store, and there's 30 people standing by filming it. Why does nobody anymore jump in and say, what are you doing? No, that's not your stuff, and grab them. Or some man punches a woman on the subway, and 10 people stand and go, oh, you can't do that. No.
There's just too many bystanders in society today.
Correct.
Nobody wants to be the person to stand up and say this is wrong because,
But this is a different case of that because the bystanders, I would bet, aren't strangers. That's where it's different. And that's the one that makes my blood boil here, in that there are people in those stands that are Armstrong parents, people that are part of the administration of whatever that hockey team is, the coach, whomever it is, that know those kids. Those kids are there. They're a captive audience to see that Armstrong team. You know those kids. Walk up to them and say, you shut your mouth. You don't say that to another human. Why can't adults do that to kids anymore?
I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I can't imagine that would be allowed. And if you're an adult in that situation, first of all, there has to be somebody there from the host team that administers the event, right? There has to be somebody who is, quote unquote, in charge. If I'm a coach in that situation, and I hear something like that, the game is stopped.
I get down off the bench.
The game is stopped. And
I walk over to that side of the rink, and I tell them to shut their mouths. Yeah.
Yes. I just don't. I don't know. Stuff like that's incomprehensible to me.
And again, here's the kicker to this whole thing is that, first of all, in no corner of sports, much less society, should this culture of looking the other way at harassment or assault, whether it be verbal or physical, be tolerated. But much less in the world of hockey, with everything we've seen uncovered in Chicago over the last couple of weeks and months. And it's not just in Chicago. It's prevalent around the world of hockey where there's this.
Well, see, I don't think some goofballs in Katanning are drawing any sort of line to that. I'm
not asking anyone to draw a line to it, Colin. I'm drawing the line to it.
Okay. You don't have to get mad at me, man.
I'm not mad at you.
I'm just saying, I don't think any kids who are saying these things are looking at sexual harassment.
My point is the insular culture of hockey. Hockey parents, hockey coaches, hockey players. We talk about it all the time. they get very offended if you don't like their sport, right? It happens a lot. They want you to love their sport. And I, as someone who does love the game of hockey, finds it disgusting that things like what happened in Chicago or have happened in other places continually happen over and over and over again.
But
and
I don't think it's a hockey problem.
I'm not saying it's a hockey problem.
It's a youth sports problem. It's a youth problem. It's a respect problem.
It's an adult problem.
It's all of those things. But the point I'm trying to make is that much less in the world of hockey, where this culture of silence, of turning the other cheek and ignoring when people do others wrong, exists as much as anywhere in society, as much as anywhere in sports. It's abhorrent, the entire thing.
Like, I wonder how many of those fans even know about they went to be idiot kids. That's what they went to do that night. They wanted to act like idiot teenagers. But they're empowered to be idiot teenagers and continue to be empowered to be idiot teenagers because too many parents think they're the friends of teenagers and they don't stand up and stop idiot teenagers from being idiot teenagers. That's the problem, whether it's at a basketball game, a football game, a dance, at the mall, at a hockey game. That's the problem in all of this. And I just don't, and again, it is why, and it's a sad state for me. In a lot of public places, I just lower my head and keep it moving and don't want to be involved in crowds because there's two things that are gigantic problems now. I think that there's a mob mentality in crowds that has always been a problem, but it continues to grow even bigger. And there's also these ridiculous words that are disseminated on social media that allow events like this to happen, and events like this on social media that get laughs. And I'll just say it, the Barstools of the world that make things not like this, but bordering on this, that think it's funny to treat people like this. It's garbage. It is totally garbage. Mob mentalities and disseminating embarrassing people on the internet that you come out the other side and you think it's funny. Neither one of those two things is funny. We have lost our guidepost, man. And this is why I don't like going to crowds. I don't like how many of we see these fight videos all the time. I put them out there to disseminate them, to embarrass people, to say, why do we act like this? Other people put them out there and break them down and laugh about them. Big websites in this country that make a lot of money. It's incredible that we're there as a society.
Well, and the other part of this problem is that when you do take it upon yourself to tell people, please, why are you acting like this? Please stop. You don't know what the hell's going to come back in your direction. You really don't. That's how out of control society is now, that you don't know if somebody might attack you back physically or worse. I mean, that's the point we've gotten to, where when you take it upon yourself to be the person that speaks up, you're taking your safety in your hands in some situations. It's sad.
It is, but the part about this one is, it's, again, for me, it's not a stranger. I just can't believe that someone said, hey, that's Joey whatever his name is. He's a loudmouth and he's being a jerk. He lives in our plan of houses. Mm-hmm. I know who he is. I'm from the same school. I'm walking over and telling him, yes, I know your dad, I know your uncle. They're going to be really mad when you get kicked out of here, and especially when they find out what you're saying to this girl. You shut up. Where is that person in that crowd?
Well, and again, I'll relate it back
because it's not a jerk at a Steeler game, Chris.
Right.
You know what I mean? Who you don't know, and he might stab you.
Right. When we were kids, I remember distinctly at Baldwin High School basketball games, when we sat in the student section, we thought we would come up with funny, degrading cheers towards players from other teams. And it would get started, and then you know what would happen? Somebody would walk down, a coach or teacher or an administrator, and say, shut up! And you know what would happen? We'd shut up.
Well, let's revert back, though, in between those two things. When he said shut up and before you said shut up, you were, in a healthy way, afraid of that person.
Oh, yeah.
The big problem now is I don't know if those kids are afraid of the people.
Because that's the culture that they see online. Nobody's afraid of consequences anymore.
Correct.
You just do what you want to do.
Like when those guys walk down, and a lot of times, you know who it was? Like a football coach or a gym teacher or a big guy. I probably have it right? Or somebody that walked down. And they walked in front of your student section, and they said, hey, Chris, you guys think you're funny. You're not. Shut it. How would you like going to Saturday school?
In our case, that's exactly what it was. It was either Coach Silanoff or it was Vince Sortino, who works for the Whippeal now and was our AD for a time. They would walk down, and Mr. Sortino wasn't like a physically imposing dude, But he would give you that look, and just like you said, you want to hang out with me on Saturday? Shut up.
I just don't understand where that person is in this instance, or where that person is in society, or where that person is. I go to the mall, and again, I saw last time I was at the mall, a kid was skateboarding through it. Skateboarding through the indoor of the mall. Now, that's like ruining the private property. Now, I'm not talking about outside. In the mall. And it was too far away from me, and people are jumping out of the way. Another person's filming it with his camera. Where are the people? And again, I'm too far away, but where are the people? You're waiting on a security guard probably to just say, hey, knock it the hell off.
Right.
This is for everyone.
And again, I understand what you're saying. This is not specific to one corner of the sports world.
But this girl got sexually harassed. Make no mistake.
But this,
I understand your link.
You understand what I'm saying about
she got sexually harassed.
The atmosphere in hockey right now, given everything that's coming out about what happened in Chicago, and we know it's happened other places. Hell, we talked to Frank Pietrangelo about it before. Any kind of this is what escalates to then the next level of, oh, it's okay to harass someone and everyone's going to get along with it. Nobody's going to say anything. The next level becomes now it's assault. That's the next level. That's that. And if any corner of the sports world should understand that, it should be the hockey world.
There's another layer to it, too. If you're one of the Mars parents in this and you're hacked off and you're mad and someone is saying these awful things to this girl and you walk over and you grab somebody by the shirt, they're going to victimize themselves. And that's a big thing in society. Now, it's fashionable to do that. Well, what do you mean? I'm just using words. You called this girl that awful name. You said this terribly sexual thing to her. Now you want to victimize yourself. That's huge in society now. It's like social media. You know how many awful things are said to us on social media? You fire back, somebody wants to play the victim. They want to do that all the time. And it's an incredible dynamic for me that we have evolved into this as a society. You know, I learned a lot in my life, and some of the lessons I learned them best by getting punched in my face. And enough kids, I don't think, got punched in their face or ever will.
At the very least, they don't have the fear of it ever happening to them, right?
You're right.